They told me the house was cursed. But curses don't whisper your name at midnight. Curses don't scratch from inside the walls when you're trying to sleep. And curses don't cry. I didn't believe in monsters when I moved into Blackwood Manor. I was 18 years old, orphan, alone. The house was my inheritance from a grandmother I never knew. A decaying mansion at the edge of a forgotten forest, where the trees grew so thick they swallowed the sun. The lawyer said no one had lived there in 40 years. He didn't tell me why. The first night I heard it. A low, deep hum coming from the walls. Not the settling of old wood. Not the wind. Something alive. Something breathing. I pressed my ear to the cold stone. And I heard a voice. Then, crack. Like glass about to shatter. Please, let me out. Ran. I locked myself in my room. I told myself it was grief playing tricks on my mind. My parents had died 3 months ago. A car crash on a road that should have been safe. I was still seeing their faces in every shadow. But the voice didn't stop. Came every night. Softer than a whisper. Closer than my own heartbeat. Please. I didn't mean to hurt them. I was just so hungry. So alone. I should have left. But I had nowhere else to go. On the 7th night I found it. A crack in the basement wall. Hidden behind crumbling shelves. It was narrow, dark. But when I held my candle to it, I saw something move inside. Night. Golden. Ancient. Terrified. And then it blinked. I screamed. I stumbled backward. The candle fell. The basement went dark. But the voice came again. Clearer now. Desperate. Don't run. Please. I've been here so long. I just want to see the sky again. I should have run. But I heard something in that voice that I recognized. Loneliness. The same loneliness that had been eating me alive since the night my parents didn't come home. Picked up my candle. I walked back to the crack. And I asked the question that would change everything. What are you? The eye blinked again. Slower this time. Tired. I am what they locked away when they forgot how to feel. Told me its name was Vera. She was a dragon. But not like the stories. Not a beast of fire and destruction. She was a dragon of memory. She could feel everything. Every grief. Every regret. Every moment of pain that humans buried so deep they thought it had disappeared. She didn't hunt. She didn't hoard gold. She absorbed the sorrow of the world to keep it from drowning the living. And for centuries, she had done it alone. Until the family who built this house discovered her. They didn't see a guardian. They saw a monster. A creature that fed on suffering. They trapped her in the walls. Sealed her with iron and prayer. And for 40 years, she had been listening. To every argument, every scream, every silent tear shed in this house. She felt it all. And she was starving. Why didn't you leave? Yes. Her voice cracked. The iron burns. Can't break it. And even if I could, where would I go? The world outside forgot me. Just like they forgot their own grief. I sat against the wall that night. I talked to her until dawn. I told her about my mother's laugh. About my father's terrible cooking. About the last phone call I never answered because I was too busy being angry about something I couldn't even remember now. She listened. And for the first time in 3 months, I felt something other than emptiness. Weeks passed. I talked to Vera every night. She told me about the sky when it was full of dragons. About clouds that glowed like fire. About a time when humans and her kind walked together, sharing grief so no one had to carry it alone. I brought her offerings. Not gold. Not blood. Memories. I told her about the day I broke my arm falling from a tree. About the boy who said he loved me and then laughed when I believed him. About the dreams where my parents were still alive and I woke up reaching for them. She absorbed it all. Gently. Like pulling poison from a wound. And every time, felt lighter. Freer. But Vera was fading. The iron was killing her. Slowly. The cracks in the wall were the only sign that she was still fighting. She needed to get out. But I couldn't break the iron. And she was too weak to break it herself. So I did the only thing I could. I started digging. Every night I chipped away at the wall. My hands bled. My nails broke. But I didn't stop. 'Cause for the first time in my life, I had something to fight for. The house didn't want me to free her. The walls groaned. The floors buckled. Shadows moved where shadows shouldn't move. I heard whispers. Not Vera's voice. Others. Older. Angrier. Voices of the family who built this house. Who sealed her inside. You will not free the beast. It will devour you. It will take your grief and leave you hollow. I ignored them. Because Vera was not a beast. She was the only one who had ever listened. On the 43rd night I broke through. The wall crumbled. Dust filled the basement. And for the first time in 40 years, Vera breathed air that wasn't trapped between stones. She was smaller than I imagined. Her scales were dull. Her wings were thin. Her golden eyes were the only thing that still held light. She looked at me. And she wept. Not tears of water. Tears of light. Golden drops that fell to the floor and blossomed into flowers. I can't fly, she whispered. I've been in the dark too long. My wings don't remember the sky. I knelt beside her. I put my hand on her head. Then I'll carry you. I built a sling from old curtains. I wrapped it around her body and lifted her onto my back. She was heavier than I expected. But I didn't stop. I walked out of the basement, the stairs, through the front door. The house tried to stop me. Doors slammed. Windows shattered. The floor split beneath my feet. But I kept walking. Because Vera was whispering in my ear. You're not alone. You never were. I made it to the forest edge as the sun began to rise. I laid her down in a clearing where the light touched her scales for the first time in 4 decades. She closed her eyes. And she smiled. I can feel it, she breathed. The warmth. The sky. The world remembering. I sat beside her as the sun climbed higher. Her scales began to glow. Faint at first. Then brighter. The color of sunrise. The color of hope. She opened her eyes. I have to go now, she said. Where? Home. Where the others are waiting. Where I can finally rest. I wanted to ask her to stay. To tell her I wasn't ready. But I saw the light building in her chest. A fire that had been waiting 40 years to be free. She lifted her head. Her wings, thin and tattered, began to spread. And for the first time in her life, she looked at me not as the one who saved her, but as the one who saw her. You carried me out of the dark, she said. Now I carry you with me. She rose, slowly at first, then faster. Her wings caught the wind. Her scales blazed with light. She circled the clearing once. And then she was gone. I stood alone in the morning light. My hands still bleeding. My body aching. But my chest was light. The grief I had carried for my parents. The guilt. The loneliness. It was still there. But it didn't crush me anymore. Because Vera had taken the weight. Not away. But into herself. The way she had always done. For centuries, her kind had absorbed human grief so we could survive. And we repaid them with walls. With iron. With forgetting. I walked back to the house. The walls were silent. No whispers. No shadows. The curse was gone. But I wasn't the same. I went to the town that week. I told them the house was safe now. That they didn't need to fear it anymore. They asked me how I knew. I told them the truth. The dragon in the walls was never the monster. We locked away the one thing that helped us feel. They didn't believe me. But I didn't need them to. I went back to the clearing every morning for a year. I sat where she had risen. I watched the sun paint the sky the same gold as her scales. And I talked. I told her about my life. About the friends I made. About the job I found. About the days when grief still came knocking and I let it in. But I didn't let it stay. I don't know if she could hear me. But sometimes, on the quiet mornings, I would feel a warmth in my chest. A warmth that wasn't mine. And I knew. She was still listening. I'm 20 now. I live in the house. I fixed the broken walls. I open the windows, I let the light in, and I tell this story to anyone who will listen, not to scare them, but to remind them we are not meant to carry grief alone, and the monsters we lock away are often the only ones who ever offered to help.